Hi, welcome to Carol on Creativity. I'm Carol Peters, and today we're on location at
Millennium Charter High School.
Wonderful. My guests are the students from the new Millennium Charter High School, and we're going to be doing basic drawing today using two techniques, the grid technique and contour drawing. So if you've never drawn before, this is where you start, and it's an easy way to begin, and you'll learn some wonderful techniques. The first thing that you're going to need to draw is a pencil, and this is a number two. This is a number 2 pencil. This is a very, very dark pencil called an ebony pencil, and this pencil is really wonderful to get some nice dark darks. It's very soft, and you can blend it really well. This is a gummy eraser, and it comes in a little package like this. The reason it's called gum is because actually when you take it out of the package, it looks like gum. And it's nice because you can actually mold this eraser, and you can use it to pick up little small pieces where you wouldn't really be able to do that with another eraser. It's nice to have a soft eraser as well. The number 2 pencil is a very light lead, and we'll use that at the beginning, and it's got a dense eraser, which for artists is pretty harsh on the paper. You'll need a piece of white drawing paper. The reason that we use drawing paper is because it has a texture, and it grips whenever you're using like a blending technique. It'll pick it up, and you can shade really well on it. It's not slick like, say, a computer, printer paper. So you need a ruler on this particular technique. This is a T-square, and this is a yardstick. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to start with a basic photo. So in this particular technique, it's easy because anybody can go through a magazine and pick a picture out of a magazine. And it actually forces your eye to look at what you're drawing. And that's basically what we're doing today in both of the techniques. So if you pick out something that has some nice lights and darks, that really helps. In this case, we picked a recognizable celebrity, Marilyn Monroe. So what you're going to do with a picture is you're going to take your ruler, and you're going to start at the top, and you're going to actually mark off inch boxes across, inch lines, starting from the left-hand side. And then you're going to go down and do the same thing, inch all the way down. Now the picture doesn't have to be an 8 by 10. It can be any size. It can be any subject matter that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. And then you're going to actually take your pen or pencil and draw lines. So what you end up having is a grid in front of the picture. So it looks like this. Now this takes a little bit of math. And so what you're going to do is you're going to count across, and I number them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In this case, it's 9. And then down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when you do that, you have, this is a 9 by 11, and they're inch boxes. I want to make it bigger. I want to fit it on this paper. And this is a fabulous way to do enlarging, because you can have a wall, and you can take this and put it on a wall. Depending on how big the box is, the technique is the same. So it's really, really good. So what you're going to do is this is a 18 by 24 piece of newsprint, and you would be using your drawing paper. I'll take my yardstick. It's 18 by 24. 18 this way, 24 this way. So if it's 18 by 24, and my picture is 9 by 11, I'm going to divide the 9 into this. So 9 goes into 18 twice, and 11 goes into 24 twice. So in this case, I'm going to use 2-inch boxes. If you come out with another, like if you came out with something that was not the same, just pick the smallest number and it'll fit. So that's just an easy way to do it. So you're going to take your paper. I'm going to measure out 2-inch boxes on here, every 2 inches, and down the same way. every 2 inches. And then this is a T-square, and not very many people know what they are unless they're in art. And what it does is it actually grips the side of the table, so you're going to get a nice straight line. So you can put this, and you can, wherever you made your mark, you can go across, across, and down, down, until, and I did this because it speeds up the process, until you have a grid on your white drawing paper. Now what you're going to do is start the drawing technique. So basically what you're doing is you're looking in this box. There's nothing here. So in this box up here, you'd leave it empty. This box, nothing, nothing, nothing. You're going to come down and you're going to say, okay, I see a little bit of hair going along here, and you start to draw it. So wherever you see it crossing, you can start just looking, looking, looking at your box and just keep drawing in the outline. And this is just the outline. You're not worrying about whatever's in the box. Now, in this case, this piece right here is called negative space. There's nothing there. The piece of hair is the positive space. So if you just look at the negative space and you get that in right, then you know your drawing is right, because all you're looking at is the box. So basically you can block this in very quickly if you're just following this line and not worrying about what in the heck is it. Now I would start with a hair or something that's less intimidating, and if you want to just dot it around, that's fine. You can just dot it, and that works. Sometimes when my students were intimidated, I would tell them, you know what, just use your eraser and draw with your eraser, because that works really well too. So what you can do is just take your eraser and just kind of draw with that, and then you're not committing. So you think, okay, the top of that lip looks good, so I'm just blocking it in like this. So see how fast this goes, because you're just looking at what's in the box and what isn't in the box. So you can see how fast I'm getting it down. You can almost recognize that this is Marilyn Monroe right now. And just do it very lightly. You don't want to put it in super dark, because if you do put it in dark, you don't want to erase it. And you don't want to erase your grid lines either, because anytime you erase the paper, what's happening is you're going to get a roughed up surface, and then that surface will pick up when you shade. So if you erase, it's going to pick it up, and it's going to make it a line there. And so they'll look like they're looking out of a cage or something like that, and you don't want that to happen. So just leave everything. So you have your drawing in there. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's pretty light, but you can kind of see that's what you need. That's your outline, that's your contour drawing. I'm going to just show you something that is kind of a really great technique. If you outline it solid all the way around, it's going to look like a cartoon. So what you want to do is you want to look where the darks are and push down hard. And then as you come around and it gets lighter, lift up. And that's called a lost and found line. So it just weaves around, and it's really beautiful. It's a great, great way to outline without getting a heavy hand and making it look like a, you know, a cartoon. I'm going to use my ebony pencil, and I'm going to look where it's dark. So on this one, I'm going to use a blending technique. I'm going to put down, I know this sweater is super dark, so I'm just going to start putting it in really dark. On the side of the hair is super dark, so I'm going to do that. This is a blending technique. And I'm following my line around. And usually if you use this technique, you might use it in some areas. In some areas, like on the face, you probably wouldn't want to do that. Okay, so then I have a Kleenex, or you can use any kind of a soft, and I'm going to pick it up like this. So you can see it on here. It's picked up. Now, you know, when you're looking at this, this is darker under here. So you're going to move this surface because dark recedes, light comes forward. So under the chin, it's dark. So I'm going to use this. I'm not going to use my pencil. I'm going to use this and I'm going to move it like this under the chin. So you can see that it's actually, and I'll show you on a larger one as well. I want to just kind of start this out. So you're getting a dark in here, and I'm actually just taking it from here and just moving it around. So that's one technique, just taking the dark and moving it. So you're starting to see it's moving back and forth on a flat surface. Another technique is called cross-hatching. Where I would use this is maybe in here, and I would take my pencil and go down some strokes, doing very light strokes, and then cross back and cross over until I got it dark enough. And I'm not even lifting up my pencil, I'm just doing it very, very lightly. And if I want it darker, I'll build it up darker and darker and darker until it gets dark. So those are two techniques that you can use. I'm going to show you on a larger board because I think this is hard for you to see. And also the cameras would be easier for you to see as well. This was a completed Marilyn Monroe, just to see it, done with the same technique, the pencil. So I'll just leave that here. And I'll go over to here. This is a face that I had started, and this is a face that I have finished. So there's two of these. This is barely started, and this one is kind of finished. But what we're going to start with to get to this point, and I'm going to have you, all of you do this as well. So just get a piece of newsprint and a piece of charcoal, and we'll start. This technique is a blending, and that's exactly what I just had you do. So you just take your piece of charcoal. There's several kinds of charcoal that you can use. This is a stick charcoal. It's nice and strong. There's a vine charcoal that's really thin and wiggly, and it snaps all the time. Just draw a circle as best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect on your paper. So this is the blending technique. This is the blending where you're going to put the black down like I did on Marilyn's neck and move it around, okay? Now, this is the outline. The outline is super flat. You don't know what in the heck this is. Is it a pancake? Is it a ball? What in the heck is it? Is it a hole? There's no way to tell without shading, so that's why shading is super important. The picture over here, you can see the clothing is shaded, the guitar is not. The clothing moves back and forth. So as an artist, if you think light comes forward, black recedes, that's where you put your dark, is where it recedes. So if this is a ball, the dark is going to be on the sides and the ball comes forward, so that's going to be in the center. So that's where your light source is going to be. The real trick to shading, this is a curved line, curve your hand with the outline. That will make it look like a, you know, it's a circular. And then I'm just going to take the side of this to make it fast. I'm going to curve it, and I'm going to curve it like this. And I'm going to make it dark on the outside. Just make it dark. You guys do it with me. And I'm trying not to stand in front of it so you can see. And basically just do one side because we'll pretend like there's a light source coming from here. And I'm looping it around a little. If you go outside the line, it's okay. I'm using the side of this just to build up some nice dark. So even with that much, it looks rounded. Can you see how it's already starting to look round? Now with your paper, once you get that done, and you can use, somebody said, oh, I want a brand new piece of charcoal. Just like when you opened up your Crayola box and you wanted the brand new pointed ones. Actually, the ones that are smaller work really good because you can grip them and you can make the outside work. So this is rounded. Now you get your tissue and it's a ball, go around. Make it lighter on this side, but you can just pull it over. Look how easy that is. So fast. And this is very soft. So it's round, it's round, it's round. You just move your hand round and it'll get round. This is a blending technique. Okay, and that's easy, especially if you're doing a soft, smudgy, media like charcoal. Cross-hatching. This is probably this is the one I did with the Marilyn Monroe. I used cross-hatching because I wanted to get really nice defined lines. I wanted to have it look like it had form. I didn't want all this smudgy powder because charcoal is very loose. So I used cross-hatching with a pencil. But you can do another ball, or you can do like a cone. We'll do like a cone here just to show you different shapes. Now, cross-hatching this is hatching, which is just lines going like this. Cross-hatching is taking those lines and crossing over. So it's just a cross. So again, we're going to follow our bottom line. We're going to curve, 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 curve around. Because you're following this bottom line. If you put that straight across, it would look flat. So I'm going to curve it. It's always darker at the bottom because you know there's gravity on Earth. You know there's shadows underneath you. There's shadows that ground you. So you normally put it darker on the bottom because that's what works the best. So shading around. Smaller as you get to the top. I'm using the side of this charcoal. And then I'm going to cross it. Small little lines. And this is cross-hatching. And you can see how that builds up the dark that way, crossing back and forth. This is just another technique to get your darks in there. And again, this, if you take a close look at this Marilyn Monroe, you can see the cross-hatching in the neck. You can see it on the face. You can see it around the eye. You can see it all over on the shirt. So this technique works great, especially if you want to control your surface. So you guys, you're doing a great job. These are wonderful. You've created something dimensional on a flat surface, which is a miracle, really. This is hatching that just goes straight across. Another technique is stippling. Stippling you will use a lot of times to get texture. If you're doing sand or something like that, stippling is just mainly little dots. And you can do this with markers. You can do it with anything. Tighter you group it, the darker they get. So that's stippling. This one is cross-hatching. Stippling. And the last one is that I'm going to show you. There's 1,000 ways to do it. Is scribbling. Scribbling is like, okay, kids scribble when they're playing around and just doodling. And so the scribbling is good for trees. Let me just get another paper I'm using. So here's a tree. Okay, if you guys are doing sets, if you're doing, whatever, and you want to do some fast leaves, scribbling is really good because especially if you're drawing something from a distance and you really can't see every leaf on the tree and you really don't want to draw every leaf on the tree, again, just go like this and scribble. Circles overlapped. Pretty soon, it looks like you've got some kind of a foliage going on. Why don't you guys try the, just try this scribbling technique as well. And so this gives you some options on what you're doing. Say you're doing a rock and it needs to have some, you know, variation. Anyway, it's not going to. So you would just build this up, build it up, build it up by just doing, you know, lights and darks using the scribbling technique. So that's another way that you can shade. Now we have something that we've looked at. This is kind of the same thing. I've shaded the sides using this. Say you've got the face, it's pretty flat at this point. What I did is the same thing as I did with the ball that you just made. I took this and I rolled it around her head just to give it the dimension. Then I took the side of the paper and I'm going down and I'm doing the side of the nose, because I know the nose sticks out. I'll do under here, I'll do the side of the lip, under the neck. I'm rolling it because I know this is round. I'm following the line of the base of the chin. Okay, so the hair would not be used with this because it would make it too soft. It would look like a piece of fabric. So what you want to do is you have to think, what kind of shading can I do on the hair? One of the really, really nice things about any kind of pencil, any kind of piece of chalk, a brush, whatever you're using, you can use a thick and thin line with the one thing you're using by the pressure that you put. The pressure is really, really important. So if I push down hard, I'm getting a really thick line. If I lift up, I'm going to get a fine, fine baby line. You can even do this with a ballpoint pen. It's amazing. So where it goes down is going to be darker. So I can make my line thick and thin, and I can create this hair by just pushing and lifting my hand. Okay, so you start, push down here and lift up, and we'll create the hair. Now this, I'm just going to make it come out of her head, come around, and then I'm going to come back up because I know that it has light and dark, and this is going back, so I'm just going to hit and lift and come back up. Excuse me, I'm on the side, so it's hard for me to. Let me get over here. Excuse me. And you make the hair strokes and turning it because the outside line is curved, and then come back up. And you can almost hear the sound when you're doing that, getting a thick and thin line, thick and thin line to create the volume. You know that's dark and behind the ear. I've got to hold on to it, otherwise it's going to fall. So you might try just doing some thick and thin lines, just you know, if you wanted, you could do bangs, you could do a mohawk, you can do anything like this. It's really cool because I'm lifting my hand each time I'm pushing down. Come back up, almost attacking it. With the eye, let's do a little bit softer thing here. I'm going to shade this by just using the side of my pencil. Again, with the eyelashes, thick and thin. They're thick when they go under, and they're thin when they come up. So you're going to, and they go out to the ear. So I'm just putting these in. Again, you can hear it. and lifting. Same with the eyebrows. The same, you know, you're doing the mouth is curved, the lips roll out that way. You can shade them in, you can use your finger, you can use this to do it. If you have a dark on both sides and light in the middle, if I wanted to actually blend it a little bit, I could take this and I could use, once you get enough on here, you can actually draw with it. You can use this as a tool because it's actually saturated with dark. So, you know, you can move it around, move it around, move it around any way you want. And it gives you, and I'm still moving my hand the same way. So basically that's it. This is one that's a little bit more complete. You can see there's more lines, but basically the idea is the same. So if you're going to do hair, root it down hard with your darks and lift it up and then come back up. And don't put the middle in, and then just blend it together and you've got instant hair. So how good is that? If you're filming something or if you're, you know, in a play and you want to create a set, that's an easy way to do it. You could see the stippling. You could take a sponge and just make your tree with a, you know, stipple. So that's super, super easy. So I think what we've covered so far is actually the grid technique by taking the picture, gridded the picture off, measured it, transferred that to the paper, and then box by box we have drawn the picture. And then with the techniques that you have now, you can start actually shading the picture that you've, you know, done and outlined, and you can, you know, fill in the darks and lights and get your completed picture. So you are really doing well. So we'll do that for a while, and then we're going to stop, and at the end of the class we're going to do contour drawing to music, which is totally fun. The second part of the drawing lesson is called contour drawing. Contour basically means an outline of what you're drawing, and we did that when we did the grid. We did the outline first and then we shaded it. This is going to be a fast contour drawing to music, and I'm going to demonstrate without the music, and then the students will do it to music. Basically what we're going to do is we're never going to look at the paper. So if I see anybody in here looking at the paper, that's not acceptable, because it doesn't matter what's on your final paper. It's a drill. It's like you're getting ready for a tennis match, or getting ready for a football game, or getting ready for a piano recital, and you're limbering up and you're focused. You want to focus on what you're drawing rather than on your paper, because if you're looking at what your drawing is going to be very, very successful. So we're going to look at Lisa, and this is my model, Lisa Cortese.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And the students will actually look at Lisa, and now we're going from a picture, which is a flat, the Marilyn Monroe is a flat, you know, photograph, to a real three-dimensional person. And what I really want you to understand is no matter what you're drawing, look at it carefully. So if you don't look at your paper, it takes away all the fear of what am I going to do. You just forget about it, and whatever happens on that paper, if it's bad, good, whatever, you can always throw it away, but it's going to train your eye. So what you're going to do is you're going to stare at Lisa and put your eye at a certain point, say the top of her head, and all you're going to do is you're going to take that pencil and follow around their curve of her arm, up and down, around her body, without looking down. So you just do not lift up your, you know, your pencil, your paper, your charcoal, whatever. You keep it straight on that paper and you look. And then whatever happens at the end, you know, that's your contour drawing. And we have some examples to show you as well. All the very, very famous artists use this a lot, and a lot of times they'll be famous and they'll say, you know what, I need to free up my mind, I really need to figure out how I'm looking at things, so they'll go back to this drill. So it's one that's used over and over again. I'm going to demonstrate so that you get the idea, and before I do that, this is very important. What you're looking for is negative and positive space again. So when you have a model in front of you, or if you have an object in front of you, the space that isn't there, which is this space, is just as important as this space. So say I'm standing here like this. This space is as important as drawing this space. So if you're checking your drawing, check the negative space, check the positive space. In this case, we're just going around the outline. If you have to go into the negative space, you do that too. So it all works. So I'm going to start. I had Lisa particularly sit with angles, because the more angles, the more exciting the subject matter. So even if you're posing for a photograph, try to put yourself, instead of just putting your hands down like this and standing like this, like you're in first grade taking your mugshot, try to do some angles, and it'll look a lot more relaxed, and it'll be way more interesting to your viewer. So if you're trying to draw something, pose it like that, and it'll look better. And it's actually more fun because you can check the negative space. All right, I'm going to start with Lisa, and I'm going to turn it this way because she's, and thank you again for being here. I don't know if I can hold this and draw at the same time. All right, so I'm starting with her head, and I'm going to just try to do this, it's like you would do it. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. Now, this looks like Pablo Picasso went crazy. But basically, you have the outside shape. That's fine. Just continue to draw again. Flip it over. If you're feeling that you want to try something a little bit different and you don't want to use the edge of your pencil, try it with the side and just block it in, or just block it in. So again, you can try this. 30 seconds, you can just block in the form. And it's hard with holding this up. And you saw mine. You saw it's fun. It's not something that you're going to hang in the Louvre, right? It's just getting your mind there, and with you down and you have two hands to hold it and not trying to juggle it, it should be faster and easy, and just, if it turns out like scribble, that's fine. You're just practicing. So we're going to turn the music on now, and I want you to draw. Stop. Okay, switch papers. And this is, let me just hold one of these up so you can get the idea. This kind of looked like what I did because you're capturing the negative space. You get an outline, you're not worrying about it. The thing is when you're doing any type of creative process, you don't want your mind to get in the way, and this frees it up. If you don't care what it looks like, you're in a better place. So get another piece of paper. She's going to change positions, and we're going to see what happens next. This will be a little bit longer. That was 30 seconds. This will be 40 seconds. Okay, just hit it. Bravo! Most of you are not looking down at all, which is amazing. And look at this. I mean, just getting that outside line. Everybody was in a different place. Okay, we're going to start now. This is going to be a longer one. This is going to be a minute. So you're going to just slowly go down the outside. You don't have to rush with this because a minute is a long time. All right, hold your drawings up. Just let me, I love it. Look at this one. It has a lot of the negative space in there. You can see how Picasso and some of the abstract artists, the cubists, using the side, nice, big, bold form. I'm seeing some really strong, you know, you're not worrying about every line. Getting the form down really well. You know, just, you can tell it's a person. I mean, that's amazing. That's great. That's an accomplishment. Look at how good these are. Use your charcoal because it's bigger and it's darker and it commits you more to that paper. Ready, set, go. Saying, hey, 60 seconds is way too long, I'm already finished, and they're really good. I saw you were finished, and it's great. I think if you're waiting for the dentist, if you're like anywhere you are and you're watching people, take a pencil and a sketch pad with you and sketch them out. You can do it in 30 seconds, and you've done it already, so you know you can. Thank everyone from the Millennium Charter High School. We had a fabulous day drawing, 2 kinds of drawings, grid drawing, contour drawing. You rocked it, and we're going to give ourselves a great big hand. Thank you to our model, Lisa Cortese. Thank you to the crew. And all together, we're going to sign off by saying, ciao for now.